Hey guys, it's Forsaken Reality here with the 17th episode of the Remnant tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to be setting up dynamic crosshairs, which is something we overlooked in the previous episode when we started setting up the shooting prediction. So we're going to need this, for example, when we walk up to a corner of a wall. We're going to create a secondary crosshair that's going to display where the bullet's actually going to hit, so we're going to need our crosshair. I have this crosshair here that I used a couple other times before. It comes with a bunch of textures for your crosshair. It's pretty easy to create new ones as well. It comes with some basics reticle spread, but we're gonna need to change up some things so it works with our project specifically. This is only a default project to showcase these reticles basically. And what we're gonna have is when you walk, it'll change size. When you sprint, it'll get a little bigger. When you shoot, it'll grow on the walk. Grows to the size of your shooting. So we have our project loaded up. I'm gonna have a download link for this in the description of this video. I actually have a version of it slightly changed, a few things edited to make it a little bit easier to implement. So if you want, you can pause the video here and download that. So when you have that downloaded, you want to load it up. It should be loading up in 4.26 Unreal Engine. This is what we'll have. Just want to right click, migrate. Okay. And we're going to select our project content folder and migrate that in there. And we can close out of this. We have all the files right here. First thing we're going to want to do is just open up our character. We'll go into here and open up the character for here. And notice we have a few things here we'll need. All we'll really need is just these two top things. Top rows for creating that. Go to our master character. Go to our event graph. Paste that in. We get an error here, and you just refresh that node. Delete this. Compile, you get a bunch of errors. Actually going to delete all this. So I put this in the wrong file. We do want this. Needs to copy them, but we want to go into this HUD right here. And we can remove these. I want to paste it in. And refresh that. Okay, first we're going to delete this. Delete all of this because we don't need the array. We do want this active widget. First thing we're going to do is delay, because we want to the character arc. We're going to create our character, and we want to wait a moment before we cast to our character, because this actually spawns in before it's created before our character is. So you want to get player character after the 2 seconds. Master character. Promote this to a variable. Call this character reference or character ref for short. Actually, we don't need a character reference. We're gonna pull out and get our equipped weapon. Weapon data. Break. And from here, we're actually going to need to create something in our data table. So we want to go to our blueprints in our main folder. And in here we will blueprints, data, structures, weapon data. And in here we're going to create a new variable. I'm just going to call this crosshair widget so we can set the crosshair for each individual weapon can have its own crosshair. And we're going to search up Reticle base and get a class reference. So now we can get all our crosshairs that come default with the system. We can create our own and we'll pick them up as long as they're of the child of that one. The Reticle base. So now we go back into our HUD. I'm just going to move this up. Save all. Now I'm going to go back into our HUD. And in here we want to drag out and create widget. So create whatever widget we have set in our character and our weapon data table. And drag out, promote the variable. Actually, no, it won't promote the variable. So we have the variable right here. Plug this in like this, so we set our active widget. It's going to name an active crosshair widget. And that should be it for this, other than plugging this in right here. This is this event right here, create. You don't have that there, you want to just type in create Reticle widget. Just name this to crosshair. The name will automatically change. A little comment. And there we go. We have the HUD set there. I want to go into our project settings, maps and modes. And for our HUD, we want to drop down and click our BP HUD. So that will set the HUD there. And nothing seems to be working yet. That's probably because you want to go into your data table, and for your weapon you can set one of your reticles now. For each of your weapon, you can set a different one. And there, now we have a reticle spawned on the screen. And each one spawns. Oh, wrong weapon. Every time I put a new one in, per weapon, it will spawn the right one. You notice that the crosshair isn't moving or doing any movement yet. That's because we need to go into our reticle widgets. So we have our base and then every single one created. So our base is our blank one. This is where each one is created. You can create new ones by just simply creating it. Go into your graph, class settings, setting the parent class to reticle base, and you'll have the reticle base set. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open up our reticle base. And in here, we want to get reticle max spread. And we want to remove this clamp because this limits the amount you can actually it will only spread so far, and if you try to put in higher values in, it will only spread. It won't allow it to spread any higher than that, which is, if you want a larger spread, then this will prevent that, will allow you to do that. Now we want to go to can increase dynamic spread. And we want to delete everything, basically. And then we're going to drag out of our character. So we can cast to our own character now. I'm going to promote this to a variable because we're going to need this a few times. So we can keep this a little cleaner. So now we have we're casting to our character and setting the reference. From here, we want to create a branch. We'll rename this the character reference, so this changes that. Drag this out. The first thing we're going to want to check is if we're sprinting. And if we are sprinting, we're going to head on to the result here. And this will let us know if we are not sprinting in that result. And the input, we're just going to set 1.5. And if it's false, we actually need a variable to check our movements to see if we're moving. So let's create a quick function in our character called movement check. That's basically just to determine if we're moving or not. We'll create a return value. And basically we're just going to get our character movement, get our velocity, vector length. And we want to know if the length of our velocity is greater than 0. So I'll determine if we're moving or not. So now we want to go back into our reticle base, drag it to false, get another character reference, get our movement check, and yeah, that's where I was getting confused there. We're going to need to get our movement check. And if we are moving or we're not moving, what will be determined here. And if we are moving, we're going to get another one of these. We'll just copy that, paste it. So Control C and Control V. And we're actually going to want another check in here. See if we're shooting it while we're moving. Let's go move this out like that so it fits again. Fits properly there. I'm going to move that back a little better. There we go. Okay, so out of our character F, we're going to get check if we're shooting. We have this variable created here. So now we're checking if we're moving, and if we are moving, it'll check if we're shooting. And if we are moving while we're shooting, we'll set this to 1.3, which is slightly less than what it would be if we were sprinting. So that's shooting and walking at the same time. And we can plug our shooting results into there. And if it's false, means we're not shooting. Plug our movement check into there. And for not moving, we'll set this to 0.8. Now we have that to that's at 0.8. We need to get the false out of here. And we're going to get one more return. And this is our final shooting check, just if we're shooting and not walking. And we actually don't need this branch. We can just simply plug this in like so. So we'll check if we're shooting or not. And if we are shooting, set this to 0.5. And if we're not shooting, we'll set it to 0.3. And that will be that. Move these two bubbles. This one. So now we have it setting. If we check if we're sprinting, it'll put a 1.5, 1.3 if we're moving and shooting, 0.8 if we're moving but not shooting, and 0.5 if we're just shooting, if we're not moving. Just gonna save and load it up and see what's going on here. So now we have our movement, our sprint, yep. And we can actually set new reticles. Each one will have its own thing, but it'll follow the movement of the way it should be set up, basically. There's some pretty nice ones in here too. Spam through them and testing out some of them. So there we go. That's that, and that's how you set it per weapon. And I'm actually going to do a quick addition that I didn't do in my private project. And I'm going to open up our ST weapon data, create a new variable. I'm going to create a variable. It's going to be a float. It's going to be crosshair spread. This is going to determine the spread of your crosshair when you're shooting. Let's save all. So you want to just set that variable. Now we can set our crosshair spread in each weapon. We can go into here, a character reference, get our equipped weapon, and data. And current spread we can plug into here. Now should set our shoot spread per weapon from here. Just testing out a large number to show you that it's changing in the weapon. And that's a larger one, so that's working. Now to quickly set it up so that we can do it per weapon when sprinting as well, or when walking. Some useful extra things here that okay, so right here is where we're shooting, and that's where I'm getting the 1.3 is 0.5, which I had set here, and 0.8 equals 1.3, so I'm just adding them both together basically. So we can get all this. Oops, don't delete that. Copy this, Control C. So we got our crosshair spread plus 0.8, which would be our walk spread. I might come back after and adjust these once I set up some more character specific things, because these will be, the walk spread will be character specific, so that we can have a variable here to set yourself per character, I guess. That's not the biggest deal, so that's why I never really did that here. And this is also just a quick addition. There we go. And that should give us our walk and shoot crosshair spread. There we go. That's going to be everything for this episode. If you found this video helpful and want to see more, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new tutorial video uploads. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, feel free to leave those in the comments section below or join our Discord community using the link in the description. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the next episode.